Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel Accounts Guru Cool. Learn accounting online. So today we are here with the second technical interview question, and thus we are, as always, we are going to discuss based on the case study. That's a software subscription fees accrual was treated as a prepayment. So here we are going to get an insight about accrual and second about the prepayment. And if in that scenario, if something is happened in the books of account, then how your profit is going to be. Either that's overstated or that's a either that's going to be the overstated or not. And if it's yes, then towards with how much amount. So that's we have to discuss here. And since you guys are into watching this content, so it's a request for all of you that if you want we to create any content as per your request, as per your requirement, so you can put it in the comment, then we are going to definitely consider that and come up with the more content towards what you guys ask. So, and the one more thing, the intention for having this playlist is that we are going to present the first questions, that's a case study, and you have to take a pause and you have to try to find out the answer from your end, and then you have to come back and recheck what's the answer. If it's perfect matching with what we have mentioned here, then that's a great. And if there is any discrepancies into that, then you can continue and try to get the more clarity towards that. And still, if you have any query, you can put it in the comment. We are there to give the answer for you. So, and in this content, we are going to discuss first about that concept and what's the uh, rectification journal entries is going to be, or what's the correction way for do that, and then how it's going to be look like. So the everything we are going to discuss related to that case study to have a more knowledge towards how you're going to solve this into your assessment test, or how you're going to write the answer in technical interview assessment. So let's jump towards the question. What's we have? A software subscription fees accrual for rupees 10,000 at the year end was treated as a prepayment in a business statement of profit and loss. As a result, the profit was overstated by. In your business, have a profit and the issues towards a software subscription fees accrual for rupees 10,000. So the accrued expenses is there for 10,000 that we have to book in the system. But instead of taking that as an accrued expenses, it's treated as a prepayment in a business statement of profit and loss. Due to this, what's the impact in our profit? If you want to take a pause, take it, go back, find out the rectification entries, what you are going to prepare, plot that, prepare that, and second, as a result, the profit was overstated by how much? Note it down, come back and check your answer. Meanwhile, we will continue with this. The first, a software subscription fees of accrual. So here we have to do the focus towards that. What is mean by accrual? So accrual, it means any expenses which incurred in the business for which we received the goods or services, but we haven't received the invoice from that respective vendor, or that invoice is not booked in the systems. That's the meaning of your accrued expenses. And as per the accrual concept of accounting, you have to book all the expenses what's pertaining to that period within that month itself, within that period itself. So assuming that if it's pertaining to the November, so whatever expenses you are going to incur, whatever expenses is incurred, you have to book in this month itself. So now when the software subscription fees accrual for rupees 10,000 is required, so instead of booking that as a expenses, that's going to be treated as a software subscription fees, that's the expenses account debit to your accrued expenses. That's the liability for us. That's going to be the correct entry we have to post. But instead of that, we posted as a prepayment. Then what is mean by prepayment? So the prepayment means if we have booked any expenses or paid for any expenses for which we haven't yet received the services, that service is going to receive in the future. So as and when that service is received, we are going to take the entry for expense of that prepayment. So here that accrual is entirely different as compared to the prepayment, and both are into the opposite. Accrual, when the expense is incurred but we haven't booked, and prepayment, we booked but we haven't received the services. It's totally opposite concept. Accrual expenses and prepayment expenses. So now what the rectification entry we have to plot here? So the expenses was treated as a prepayment. So the first we have to take the rectification entry for that is going to be your software subscription fees account. We have to debit to prepayment of expenses account credit. So the first we have to debit to our software expenses, software subscription fees, and credit to prepayment expenses. So it means that by 10,000, we are debiting towards the expenses and we are reversing this prepayment expenses account. So that's the rectification entry. So first we debited towards the P&L as a software subscription fees for 10,000, and two, prepayment of expenses account credit, that's a 10,000. This is going to be debit to P&L as an expense. This is reduced from your prepayment balance from the asset. Now it's not only the one entry, it's a one more entry we have to book in the systems. That's a correct entry towards the software subscription fees for accrual. That's also is not booked. Since at a first we book as a prepayment expenses to software subscriptions and we reduce the balance of software subscriptions. So by doing this entry, we are reversing that entry. But the corrective entry we have to book in the systems, and that's going to be again your software subscription fees account is going to debit to your accrued expenses account is going to credit. So that's we have to do in the books of account, and that's also is going to be again for 10,000, and this is also is going to be for 10,000. This is the actual entry is supposed to be posted at a first when we are doing this entry in the systems, but due to the inaccuracy or due to the incorrect entries posted, so that issue is there. So this sort of questions is going to be there in your assessment test, in your technical interview test, and you have to give the answer for that. Now, if you see your profit, assuming that is X, and now the software subscription fees, you have debited the 10,000, and again, the software subscription fees account debit that 10,000 you have again booked as an accrued expenses. That's the liability for us. This is going to be hit towards the liability, and this is again debited to your expenses. So that's also you have booked as a software subscription fees. So if you do the addition of these two, it means that your profit, as a result, the profit was overstated by 20,000. That's the answer for this. So you have to plot the journal entries and you have to give the answer for that as well. Now, if you see that from these small technical interview questions or assessment test questions, the interviewer is able to know your knowledge towards the accrual concept, towards the accrued expenses. Second, knowledge towards the reversal of the prepaid expenses or expense off of the prepaid expenses. And the third, what's the actual entry is going to be towards the accrued expenses. So you're able to get a clarity about the prepayment, accrual concept plus accrued expenses. And the interviewer also is able to analyze all this from your answers. So considering that this series is going to be the most helpful for all of our viewers to get an insight for each and every technical questions with all the knowledge towards that. It's not going to be just plot the answers, but the intention to explain how that things work and how you have to answer for that. So that's a win-win situations. So have the knowledge from that concept plus what's the rectification is going to be. So that's our intention from this. And I hope your answer is correct, or if it's not, you can continue and go through with this. So thanks guys for being with us till the end, and request viewers to like, share and subscribe our channel to get a more insight related to accounting and finance. In addition to that, if you have uh, any query at your end, put it in the comments. We are going to answer for that. And if you are looking for any sort of training related to accounting and finance, either it's R2R, P2P, O2C or anything, you can connect with us on our email ID accounts.gurukul@yahoo.com. Thank you.